Hello students, and today we are going to look at the modification of fats. So now what do you mean by modification of the fats? We have seen uh, fats are nothing but organic compounds or heterogeneous group of organic compounds which are containing fatty acids, and they have types such as simple fats, complex fat, and derived fat. So, as natural products, fats and oils, they do not always have the properties required for a specialized purpose. Uh, on the other hand, there may be raw material that do have the ideal properties required, but sometimes they are too expensive or they exist in a limited quantity, and therefore it is a very good method, or it's a very good approach that we modify the cheap oils and fats and try to mimic the fatty acid profile of the fat they are which are very expensive. So the techniques that are used to modify fats and oil, what they do, they change mainly the physical properties of the lipids of fat to meet the need of a specified purpose, and these techniques today we are going to see in detail. Okay, so this modification offers multiple number of properties, or they are very advantageous. They help in modifying the some special properties of oils and fats in a very wide range, making them more suitable for uh, various various uses, such as for example, oils and fats when they are liquid oils when they are converted into plastic fat, then they could be used in various bakery products. So they offer different there a wide range of possibility of applications, and there are various ways to do this modification of the fat. And basically there are methods like fractionation, winterization, interesterification, hydrogenation. So in the last lecture we have studied in detail what is meant by hydrogenation of fat, and if you would like to know more details, the link of the hydrogenation of the lipid which was covered in the last lecture is given in the bottom at the description box. Okay, so basically if you look today, what the new thing we are going to see is fractionation and interesterification. In the hydrogenation we saw an unsaturated fatty acid is converted into a saturated fatty acid. So and in the interesterification, what is happening? The building blocks of fat basically are remaining unchanged. They are not going to change. Neither the carbon chain is changing, neither their structure is changing. So only what is changing is in the interesterification, the building block of the fat remain unchanged. However, what is happening then in interesterification? The fats are recomposed from their identical building blocks. Whereas in case of hydrogenation, we saw that a hydrogen is added at the double bond of the unsaturated fatty acid, and therefore unsaturated fatty acid was converted into a saturated fatty acid. Okay, so the double bonds were reduced to saturated bonds, whereas the structure of the triglyceride molecule remain unchanged. Even in hydrogenation, the number of carbon atom remain unchanged. Okay, So today what we are going to see and learn about the modification processes such as fractionation, winterization and interesterification in detail. Okay, so let me share my screen. So here is the modification of fats, and you see a beautiful, applications a modified fat could give instead of just using a liquid oil or liquid oil. And the modified fat could be used in the applications such as candy making, chocolate making, in the frying, in ice cream making, making lot of bakery items of our choices, uh, desserts, muffins, cakes, and so on and so forth. Okay, so just to give you an overview about edible oil processing, which was also studied in the last lecture, we saw that the how um, seeds like plant seeds like soybean seed, sesame seed, flax seed, peanuts, or any seed that has oil could be, first cleaned, they are dried, and then they are cracked, flaked, and then dehulling. After the dehulling, these seeds, which are rich in oil or lipid, are processed to either mechanical extraction or the solvent extraction to obtain the oil. And once you have a crude oil, how this crude oil can be refined, and the one that you get today for consumption is in our day-to-day life is refined, double filtered, purified oil. Okay, so in the last lecture we saw this refined, the oil, that crude oil that we get has to undergo various stages of refining, such as degumming, which is also called as a neutralizing, bleaching process, uh, winterizing process, and deodorization, which was the last. If you want to know more detail, the link for this last lecture on refining of the fat is provided in the description box. Okay, so today we are going to see how the fat or lipid or oil that is being refined can be further modified. Okay, so the base here, or the basic raw material that we are going to use for the modification of the fat is refined oil. So there are various advantages of using the refined oil, because if you have a starting point or the impure oil, it becomes difficult. We saw that hydrogenation doesn't take place faster. The hydrogen gas which needs to be dissolved, the dissolution rate decreases when you have oil that has a lot of impurities such as waxes, phospholipids. Okay, so to perform the modification of the oil, you need to have a base oil, or the starting oil is refined oil. Okay, and the modification of the fat is carried out by most common known processes such as fractionation, interesterification, and hydrogenation. Hydrogenation we have already discussed in detail, and today we are going to talk about the remaining two modifications methods such as interesterification and fractionation. So once you have these modified fats, and now you will have a question like, when should I go for a fractionation process, and when should have and I should go for an interesterification. So when we study in detail each process protocol, you will come to know which method one should go for. Okay, so once you have this modified fat, as I mentioned before, these modified fats could also be further, modified to be used as a specialty fats. Oil could be modified to get a high fat stability. It could be also made into margarine, which could be then further used as a shortening in various bakery products to get a very nice texture. Okay, and sometimes the crude, the refined oil, after fractionation, you get certain uh, uh, products. For example, during refining you also get soap stock, so that soap stock could be used in making of detergents, lubricants, and biodiesel. Okay, so fractionation, interesterification, and hydrogenation, we have already seen. Hydrogenation is nothing but reducing the degree of unsaturation of acyl group and converting this into full hydrogenation, like, or you can either go for a full hydrogenation and partial hydrogenation. We have already seen what happens if you go for a full hydrogenation, what happens if you go for a partial hydrogenation, and also how the trans fatty acids, which are hazardous to our health, are formed during uh, these processes. Okay, interesterification is basically carried out to modify the position of the acyl group on the glycerol chain. To modify the position of the acyl group on the glycerol chain. Chemically, there are two types of interesterification: chemical interesterification and enzymatic interesterification. Whereas fractionation is carried out to just separate the fatty acids based on its differentiation between the melting point. So in the fractionation, our objective is to separate high melting fractions from the low melting fractions by a selective crystallization procedure. Okay, there are other methods for performing fractionation, such as solvent fractionation, detergent fractionation, and dry fractionation. So just to ask a very basic question that you have in mind, that why do we need modification of fats and lipids? So basically, the modification of fats and lipid is needed. The specific fatty acid profile and their distribution on the glycerol backbone in natural oils and fats affect their functional property. We have seen, like in one of the lecture, like how the melting point of fat could be used as uh, uh, how the fat that melts at different temperature could be used in various products as per the requirement. So a specific fatty acid profile and their distribution on the glycerol backbone in natural oils and fats affect the functional property like crystallization, melting behavior. For example, in one of the lecture we saw, if you have a saturated fatty acid, the saturated fatty acids are going to have a very high melting point compared to an unsaturated fatty acid, which will have a low melting point. Okay. So there are various benefits to modify the fats and lipids. Number one benefit is to alter the physical property. How? Through the modification of the fat, we get a liquid oil is converted into a solid fat. Okay, so when you have a liquid oil, that means it has unsaturation, carbon-carbon double bond, and when you have an unsaturation, that means that this area or this point is more unstable, and therefore it will participate in the process called as a rancidity, or it is also called as an auto-oxidation or oxidation, and resulting into generation of free fatty acids and peroxide that will result into spoilage of lipids or fat. And thus when you convert a liquid that is unsaturated liquid into a solid fat or saturated fatty acids, that means you are improving the stability of the fats and lipids. Further, it is also achieve. It will result into when you have a less oxidation to a lipid or liquid, it achieves the more greater economical benefits. And there are, as I already mentioned, there are various methods through which this can be achieved. Okay, so a very good example of application of these modified fats and oil, you see, when you perform the hydrogenation of fish oil to provide an acceptable edible oil or higher stability. We know that fish oil has a very uh, poor smoke point, and one therefore cannot use this this fish oil as an edible oil, in spite of having it's a very good omega 3, omega 6, or good fatty acid. So if you perform hydrogenation of the fish oil, you might be able to use this fish oil for higher, you get a higher stability, and thus therefore you can use this fish oil for the cooking purpose as a substitute for expensive raw material, like for example hydrogenated and or fractionated oils as substitute for cocoa butter. You all know that the cocoa butter is a very a famous ingredient that is being used extensively in chocolate, and cocoa butter is having a very good physical property because of its presence of fatty acid, and these fatty acids are and because this cocoa butter is a very expensive, so during the fractionation or modification of the fat, a cocoa butter substitutes or equivalent substitutes would be prepared. Okay, so the hydrogenated oils or the stearin, that is the solid fraction of the oil, to provide a hard stock for margarine and shortening. So when we perform, we have seen in the last lecture, when we perform hydrogenation, that is addition of hydrogen to the double bond of carbon-carbon double bond, an unsaturated fatty acid is converted into a saturated fatty acid, and therefore it provides a hard stock for margarines and shortenings. Hard butter for chocolate and oils and fats used in the margarine and shortening. So basically, overall, modification of the fats offer the possibility of changing the properties of the oils and fats within a very wide range, making them very suitable for making many uses. Like you can use a modified fat for the frying purpose, which has a more stability. You can use it as a margarine in bakery products and many other products, or in chocolate to provide a desirable melting property. So in this figure, you see there are three processes shown here. The first one is a hydrogenation process or a hardening process, in which the oil is in presence of catalyst like hydrogen is processed, and you get a hardened fat oil. And in this process, as because it is a chemical process, you are converting carbon-carbon double bond to a saturated carbon-carbon single bond. So unsaturated fatty acids are converted into saturated fatty acid, which is a chemical process. Okay, and whereas in interesterification, what happens? You use catalyst. A reaction is carried out. There are two types of interesterifications, like chemical and enzymatic interesterification, and this is basically a physical and chemical process. It's a combination of physical and chemical process, whereas a fractionation is completely a physical process, like you are separating the fractions from the lipid by either melting, cooling. You know that due to when you increase the temperature, the fat molecules are melted, and these then when you cool, supersaturation phenomena and crystallization phenomena, when you cool, the molecules or the fatty acid that has a very low melting point will crystallize very soon, and then these formed crystals can be then separated easily into two fractions, like olein, which is a unsaturated or low melting point, whereas stearine with the high uh, high melting point and low melting point. Olein and stearine, this is a hard and this is a soft fat. Okay, so basically, if you look in this process also, fat molecule remain unchanged, recomposed from an identical building blocks. In hydrogenation, hydrogen is added to the double bond of the unsaturated fatty acid. The double bonds were reduced from to saturated, and the structure of triglyceride remain unchanged. Okay. So what is interesterification? Let us understand it in detail. So basically, interesterification is a reaction between different triglycerides. Okay. So if you look, uh, you have a glycerol here, a glycerol molecule, and you can have a fatty acid, one different fatty acid, fatty acid, fatty acid, another glycerol molecule, another fatty acid, fatty acid, fatty acid. So either this could be a saturated fatty acid, or this could be an unsaturated fatty acid, this could be again unsaturated fatty acid, this could be again saturated fatty acid, and this is unsaturated fatty acid. So basically, in the interesterification, it is a reaction between different triglycerides with a rearrangement. So we have, suppose, this is the your glycerol, and this is the fatty acid, and that is why this is a triglyceride molecule. Okay, this is a triglyceride molecule. So what can happen? You can rearrange these fatty acids. Like these fatty acids could be rearranged between themselves. Like suppose you have this glycerol backbone. So this fatty acid at SN1 position can get rearranged with the SN3, SN2 or SN3 position. So this is called as a intra. For example, I have these two hands. Okay, so here is one hand and here is one hand. So I can exchange, between this hand and this hand. But at the same time, suppose I am a triglyceride molecule and you are also one of the triglyceride molecule. So can we also change, our hands between, amongst us? So basically, it is a reaction between different triglycerides with a rearrangement of acyl groups within and between different triglycerides. So we can exchange our hands between all of us, or I can exchange between myself. Okay. So basically, this interesterification process results into modification of the fat molecule or triglyceride molecule, resulting into a better physical property of fat. But there is no change in fatty acid. Please remember, we are not going to change the composition of the fatty acid and degree of saturation. It is only the rearrangement of the acyl group either within the molecule or between the different triglyceride molecules. So it is applied directly to naturally derived oil, fats, or to a hydrogenated. So to process or to interesterify the fat, either you can take just a natural fat and perform the interesterification, or you can perform this interesterification in a hydrogenated fat or a fractionated oil, or you can perform interesterification between a saturated fat as well as a liquid fat. For example, suppose you have a sunflower oil, which is liquid, okay, which is an unsaturated fatty acid. So you can perform the interesterification between suppose this is a hydrogenated fat, okay, hydrogenated fat. So you can perform the interesterification between a hydrogenated fat and unsaturated liquid oil. Okay, you can perform or between the hydrogenated fat or between unsaturated fatty acid and saturated fatty acid. So what are the objectives of this interesterification? So there are various objectives or multiple benefits of doing interesterification, but there are four main objectives. So when we perform interesterification on oils or hydrogenated fat or a natural oil or a refined oil, so basically interesterification is performed to change the overall melting profile, usually smoother the fatty solid fat content or the mixture of or melting point of the mixture. Like you can change the melting profile. You can decide or you can obtain a mixture of a compound, a mixture of fatty acid which can have a desirable melting point. Then you can also perform interesterification to improve the compatibility of the different triglyceride in the solid state. Interesterification is also performed to improve the plasticity of the resulting solid by changing the recrystallization property. We have seen in the hydrogenation, suppose if you perform a full hydrogenation, okay, you perform a full hydrogenation and you get a very hard fat, okay, having a very high solid fat content. So if you want to improve the texture or you want to bring it little softer or you want to make it little softer, so what you can do, you can perform interesterification between the hydrogenated fat and liquid oil through this interesterification process, and you can obtain a more smoother texture to the hardened fat. The fourth objective of interesterification is to also combine the property of mixed oil and fats. As I mentioned, suppose in sunflower oil you have fatty acid which has a very low melting point, and suppose you have a palm oil, okay, palm oil. So suppose you want to use a sunflower oil with more stable fatty acid, which could be then used in frying, so to improve its frying stability. So if you combine a palm oil with the sunflower oil, or suppose you take an example of another oil, suppose you have a corn oil, because of greater unsaturation, what happens, or canola oil, okay, so all these oil have a more unsaturated fatty acids. So suppose if you perform interesterification between corn oil and palm oil, because palm oil has a 50% of unsaturated fatty acid and 50% of the saturated fatty acid. So when you combine these, you might get a mixture of oil or fat which has a better fat stability. Yeah, so when you look at this molecule, you have a glycerol, one molecule, another glycerol molecule, and then when you perform the interesterification between these two molecules, which is basically these fats and oils together reacts, in which these fatty acids of the triglyceride exchange their position. So this might go, so you have seen, so this was like all yellow fatty acid, and now after interesterification, this molecules, the two fatty acids from this molecule has gone and sat over here on the first molecule. In this case also, in the second case also, some of the fatty acid molecule or fatty acid have come from this and gone and sat on this molecule. Also there is an exchange between, so basically there is an exchange of position from one glyceride to another. So they have changed, these fatty acids have changed their position from one glyceride molecule to another. And what is happening when they are changing the position? They are altering the chemical composition. Okay, so now suppose this is unsaturated, okay, this is unsaturated. This is unsaturated and this is saturated. So initially this molecule was supposed highly saturated. Okay, this was highly saturated, but because there are two unsaturated fatty acids have come and sat here or exchanged, and now this molecule is better unsaturated. Now it has gone towards the unsaturated, and similarly if the initial molecule was highly unsaturated, having a very poor shelf stability or friability or fry stability, now in the saturated fatty acid on this triglyceride molecule have exchanged their position, now gone and sat there, and therefore it is altering its chemical composition, but at the same time if you look, it is changing its physical property. Now this molecule is more stable, this molecule has more stability, this molecule has a different melting point. So this is a very efficient way of changing and controlling the melting point property. We know that unsaturated and saturated fatty acid have a different melting point. So rearrangement process which does not change the degree of unsaturated. Please remember, in hydrogenation, which is a chemical process, we are changing degree of unsaturation, but in the interesterification process we are not changing the degree of unsaturation. The change in the physical properties are obtained because of the exchange or shift of the fatty acid molecule from one glyceride molecule to another glyceride molecule, and therefore you get the change. So basically, there is no change in the degree of unsaturation, or the isomeric state of the fatty acid is not changed. So they transfer in their entirely one position to another position. So basically, there are two ways of doing this, either a chemical process or enzymatic process that rearranges the fatty acid onto the glycerol backbone of a triglyceride or tag molecule, or in either a random or a specific way. Okay, either it can happen randomly or one can perform the specific. So you can even in the name, from the name itself, you can understand enzymes, because they are very specific. You can go for a specific way, and in the chemical you might get a random exchange or rearrangement. So the altered proportions of the tag or triacylglycerol molecule or triacylglyceride molecule species that result from rearrangement can give a very good properties, like including providing higher melting point. It can also alter the crystalline structure. Okay, so just now we have seen that. So position, like specific enzymatic interesterification, can also be used. And what are the applications? So basically, interesterified fat could be then used to create an infant formula products with a very specific tag, because infant are not able to digest some of the fatty acids, or they need some specialty fats in their diet for their brain development. So can you make an infant formula having a very specific tag molecular species, which can then mimic the composition of the human breast milk, and then it may add a better fat absorption, because if you take a buffalo milk, or which has more saturated fatty acids, and which are not easily digestible by the infant, so this is a very good way to get the infant formula. So again, same thing I'm trying to explain. This is the structure of triacylglycerol molecule. This is a triacylglycerol molecule, and this is a fatty acid. This is a fatty acid having R1, R2, R3 position at SN1, SN2, SN3. They vary in their length and degree of unsaturation at each of the three stereospecific positions, like SN1, SN2, and SN3. The shaded area, this is the blue shaded area, represent the glycerol backbone of the molecule. So same thing I want to repeat. Suppose you have an typical, positional arrangement of a saturated and unsaturated fatty acid within a triglyceride molecule. Suppose this is a sunflower oil or a plant source and an animal derived fat. So suppose this molecule is a animal derived fat which has more saturated fatty acid, and this is a plant fat which has just unsaturated, more unsaturated fatty acid. Suppose this is a canola oil, or this is a corn oil, or suppose this is an olive oil, okay, or any oil which has more unsaturated. So after interesterification, these saturated fatty acids have exchanged or rearranged their positions, and now this unsaturated molecule is not highly unsaturated, and this saturated molecule is not highly saturated. Okay, so again same example, like in this case you have this tag molecule or triacyl glycerol molecule. R1 is here. After interesterification, this R1 is replaced with R2, and then this R3 is replaced by the R2's position, and R1 has taken R3's place. So this is the interesterified fat. Okay, this will result into change in the melting point, change in the physical property, and change in the crystallization structure. So a glycerin molecule, we know that fatty acid together, when you have an interesterified fat, a triglyceride molecule, and when you interesterify them, they might change their position. So interesterification might happen within a triglyceride or between a triglyceride molecule. So I have just explained an example, like I have this, suppose this is the, I am a glycerol molecule, and I have this fatty acid, and one more fatty acid, and I can exchange between, okay, I can exchange my right hand with the left hand. Or suppose you have additional 2 fatty acids, so I can exchange these R1 R2 between. So it is between 2 triglycerides or within a triglyceride molecule. Okay, within a triglyceride molecule, it can possible to change. So for example, this is a within a triglyceride molecule, this R1 is replaced with a R2 which was at SN2 position, and then SN3 position there was R3 which was now replaced by the R1. Between the two triglycerides, suppose you have this R1 R2 R3 and R4 R5 R6. These are the triglycerides at different positions, and when you have interesterification between these two triglyceride molecules, the end product that you get is a triglyceride molecule is like from the second triglyceride molecule, the R6 is now replaced, and that has sat on the first molecule, and likewise. Okay, so what happens when you have a mixture of oil? Suppose I am giving you a repetitive example so that you understand. Suppose you have, this is an unsaturated fatty acid or canola oil or corn oil, and this is a saturated fatty acid. So mixture when you take, and this is the methoxide, sodium methoxide, which is used as a catalyst, and this interesterification is performed, and when there are chances that you get a mixture of a triglyceride which is which was earlier highly unsaturated. Now there are saturated fatty acids being added, saturated fatty acid, or you may get a compound with a high saturation point. So basically here, suppose this is the graph showing solid fat content, okay, total solid fat content. Suppose this is the molecule A, okay, this is the molecule A, and because of the interesterification, the total solid fat content is increased. So total solid fat content is increased. Okay, so what are the application of this interesterified fat? A solid fat containing 60% essential fatty acids can be then obtained by a directed interesterification of sunflower oil and blending with the 5% hard fat. This I have already explained, like you can get a middle unsaturation. Suppose you want to increase the stability of, for example, olive oil, like you want to make it more friable or fry stability. So how you can do, you can uh, do the interesterification. So a solid fat containing 60% essential fatty acids could be obtained by performing an interesterification of a sunflower oil and blending with the 50% hard fat. A random interesterification of lard, which is an animal fat which has more saturated fatty acid, results in an improved shortening by reducing the graininess of the original fat, which is caused by the presence of large crystals of desaturated glycerides like stearic, palmitic, oleic, in which the palmitic is in the middle position or second position and the oleic in the first position. So you perform the random interesterification to get the more improved shortening that is prepared from the base lard. Okay. So random interesterification helps in reduction of the amount of these glycerides. Okay. As I already given, if you want a palm oil with a better melting property, you can treat saturated fatty acid with certain percentage with unsaturated fatty acids. For example, 30% of saturated fatty acid and 26% of unsaturated fatty acids can be obtained by directed interesterification of palm oil. We know that the palm oil has 50% of saturated fatty acid and 50% of unsaturated fatty acid. So a desirable melting point could be obtained like a 39 degrees Celsius melting point containing 7% saturated fatty acid and 6% unsaturated fatty acid. So interesterification is possible. Now you will wonder, like in one of the example I'm going to show you, that it is possible to get many combination, like how many combination one will get, how are you going to decide. So for example, I want to make a cocoa butter. Okay, I want to make a cocoa butter substitute or cocoa butter equivalence, and I tell that I want 30% saturated fatty acid and 70% of unsaturated fatty acid, or going beyond, if I say that I need 10% of stearic, 10 30% of oleic and linoleic. Suppose I give some requirement, okay, based on the cocoa butter substitute. So suppose you have some specific requirement. So nowadays there are softwares available which can predict like how much percentage of unsaturated fatty acid if you mix with the saturated fatty acid, and what will be the end product, what will be the resultant mixture of this oil could be obtained in the interesterification. So there are a lot of modifications has happened in the industry, and that is why you see nowadays you see many advertisement that say even your olive oil could be used for frying the jalebis. So when I saw that for the first time, that advertisement on the TV, I realized, oh, they must have performed interesterification of the olive oil. So then the olive oil, so the basic base of the oil is olive oil, but then they have increased the stability of the olive oil fatty acid by replacing certain percentage of the fatty acids which are unsaturated with the saturated fatty acids having more stability. Okay, so margarine made with the high content of lauric oil is typically low in melting point and has a very short plastic range, and this will then produce a margarine that is hard in the refrigerator but melts partly at room temperature. Suppose you want this requirement, and this requirement could be achieved by the interesterification. So a lot of things can be done. It's very very fantastic. So I hope you understood the basic principle. So the remedy is to remove or decrease the amount of lauric triglycerides, and this can be done by that is the coconut oil can be treated with the palm oil and blending 60% of the interesterified mixture with 40% of the sunflower oil. You get this requirement. Now, what are the advantages of interesterified advantages of interesterification? As we have already seen a lot of advantages, but just to repeat, advantages of interesterification: you get a modified fat, you change the overall melting profile, you can have a desired melting profile, you can improve the compatibility of the triglyceride in the solid state, you can improve the plasticity of the resulting solid by changing the crystallization property. You can combine the properties of the mixed oil, like for example, one is not commonly used and the other one is most commonly used. You can combine these mixed oil, you can combine the oils together and get the benefit of both the oils. It can also be used to produce waxy translucent for the coating purposes. It can also be used for making a hard fat or a liquid oil, which can be mixed together with a hard fat to get a desired functionality. We have seen, if you perform the full hydrogenation or complete hydrogenation, you might get a fat which is very, very hard, which is like a stone. But if you want a plastic in between, if you perform the partial hydrogenation, what happens? Trans fatty acids formed, and they are very hazardous to the human health. So mostly nowadays interesterification is performed so that the trans fatty acids are not formed. So shortenings, margarines, vegetable ghee with low or no trans fat can be formulated only because of the interesterification. Confectionery fats of a desired quality like chocolate, which is a mouth melting, or there are various products which can even remain solid at room temperature, etc. So there are two types of interesterification that are performed, like random interesterification, directed interesterification, or enzymatic interesterification. So chemical interesterification or enzymatic interesterification. So let us understand what is chemical interesterification. As the name indicates, there is a use of a chemical. So there are variety of chemicals used as the catalyst. In this process of interesterification, you need a catalyst. So chemical is used in between, and most commonly used is sodium methoxide. And here in this process, this interesterification is used successfully to modify the lipids, fats into a functional products. Chemical interesterification leads to random distribution of fatty acid. This is not a specific interesterification. So it's a random distribution of fatty acids on the glycerol backbone. So chemical interesterification requires a high temperature, a high pressure, and sometimes it might degrade the resultant oil and fat. And also there are loss of vitamin A and E and tocopherols due to the high temperature. And there is also around 10% of the loss of the oil is observed, and it is not safe, because nowadays people are becoming more health conscious and they want more greener product, or they want a product that are prepared under greener environment without use of any chemical. So because it is a chemical, people do not want to use this product. Okay, so for a safer side, they due to use of catalyst, chemical interesterification is not used. So what is chemical interesterification? So basically chemical interesterification typically uses sodium methoxide as the catalyst, and it involves the hydrolysis and random redistribution of the all fatty acids within a triglyceride, triacylglyceride molecule or a mixture. Okay. So chemical interesterification has been in commercial use since 1940s, when it was used to modify the solid fat content of lard as a means of improving its spreadability, its baking property. Okay, so it remains the main form of interesterification used in many countries, but in some of the countries it is not being accepted. So the next second form of interesterification is the enzymatic interesterification. Sorry. So the chemical interesterification is reaction is catalyzed by sodium methoxide, and the temperature is used here is relatively high, that is about 110 degrees Celsius under vacuum. The chemically interesterified oil requires a series of post-treatment processes, such as to remove or reduce the residues of the chemical methoxide. You have to perform washing, bleaching, and deodorization if you use the natural oil. So chemical interesterification process generally involves following steps. Number one, pumping of the oil into interesterification vessels and removing the air to create a vacuum. Number two, in the second step, heating of the oil is done at 110 degrees Celsius, and this is hold at 1 to 2 hours to remove all possible moistures that are present, and followed by initiating the interesterification reaction by addition of sodium methoxide is added in the range of 0.01% to 0.02%, like the percent is like 0.01 to 0.02%, and then once you perform this reaction of interesterification, the temperature is brought from a high temperature of 110 degrees Celsius to 70 degrees Celsius, and during the cooling, the interesterification of the oil takes place. And once you finish this step, washing is carried out. The interesterified oil is washed with a dilute aqueous citric acid solution, and the citric acid here used is 0.4%. 3 to 4 times the washing is given to remove the soap byproducts, and then the oil is dried under vacuum. In the next step, the bleaching of the interesterified oil is carried out to remove any amount of soaps or trace metal or oxidized body. And in the last step, deodorization of the interesterified fat is carried out. As the name indicates, deodorization, like if there are any free fatty acids already formed, or during this process, if they are being formed, in the deodorization process, the free fatty acids are removed, and other volatile impurities like rancid products that are formed, they are removed to produce a very good refined, bleached, and deodorized and interesterified oil. The next type of interesterification is enzyme interesterification. So basically, as the enzymes are very, very specific, if one want to have a directed interesterification, the chemical interesterification, the exchange of the or rearrangement of the fatty acid molecule might happen, randomly. But in case of enzymatic interesterification, this is because enzymes are very, very specific, they are substrate specific, you can control temperature, you can control time. So enzymatic interesterification, a lipase catalyzed process, has several advantages with over the chemical interesterification process, and this process is very, very specific, more specific, especially with the use of this specific 1,3 lipase enzyme, which can result into, or which results into, a very, very custom made fats which have the desired physical and nutritional properties, which is not possible to obtain in the chemical interesterification. So enzymatic interesterification is carried out at a low temperature compared to the chemical process, in which 110 degrees Celsius temperature was used, whereas in enzymatic interesterification only normally the temperature ranges from 55 to 70 degrees Celsius. Thus, it reduces the cost, also it reduces the energy consumption, and most importantly, You are processing your oil at a low temperature, so you have an added benefit when you treat the oil at a low temperature. Enzymes are neither hazardous to the environment or not dangerous to animals or to handle or to the humans. So also the stability of the oxidation prone fatty acids like minor components such as vitamin E and the shelf life and quality of products are also preserved because you are using the low temperature. Okay. So basically, in the enzymatic interesterification, microbially sourced lipases such as from Candida rugosa are used, and as I mentioned before, because this enzyme is a specific, it can help you to achieve a specific redistribution of fatty acid depending upon the specificity of the lipases used. So enzymatic interesterification was basically first developed in the year early 1980s to provide a cheaper source of confectionery fat to replace the cocoa butter by modifying the triacylglycerol molecule within the palm oil. And then later on it has subsequently become the predominant interesterification method used in many countries like US and Canada. While enzymatic interesterification may have lower equipment costs than the chemical interesterification, it requires the use of a more expensive catalyst. Like lipase is not going to be cheap. So lipase enzyme is also very expensive catalyst compared to the sodium methoxide. However, enzymatic interesterification method can be carried out at a lower operating temperature, lead to a more natural oil or retention of more vitamins, and preserve the oxidative stability of the resulting product. And therefore, enzymatically interesterified products are more natural than the chemical interesterified product, as if the process is catalyzed by the very specific enzyme 1,3-lipase enzyme. The fatty acid at the 2 position, which is generally uh, rich in essential unsaturated fatty acid, is preserved, and it does not produce a trans fatty acids, which are very bad for the health. This is useful for a nutritional aspect, and therefore that is the reason why enzymatically interesterified oils are more acceptable to the health conscious consumer over the chemical interesterified fats. If a non-specific lipase is used as a catalyst, the enzymatic interesterified process produces fats with a physical property similar to fats produced by the chemical interesterification. Okay, so overall, enzymatic interesterification is a very simple, very cost effective process. A specific melting profile of the fat is achieved by passing the oil once through the enzyme column, and neither washing nor bleaching of the interesterified fat is required, as the low temperature of the enzymatic process produces no side effects or side products. In the chemical interesterification. The amount of catalyst used is very low, typically 0.2 to 0.4 kg of enzyme per ton of oil. Oil loss is also much less than the chemical interesterification, and continuous enzymatic interesterification process can be accurately controlled, which allows the specific melting properties which could be achieved, and it is also not dangerous to handle because of the low temperature. This means that the products with new and improved melting properties can be obtained. So just a quick overview, or this is just a repetition. From the exam point of view, you might get an question which asks about differentiate between chemical interesterification and enzymatic interesterification. There are many differences, but just for as an example, I have given here few points, but you are encouraged to read and add all those points that we have just now discussed, comparing chemical interesterification and enzymatic interesterification. So chemical interesterification has a low processing cost because of the batch reactor, and enzymatic interesterification gives you a high processing cost because of the continuous reactor, or the lipase enzyme itself is a very expensive compared to sodium methoxide, which might be less expensive. There is around 10% of the oil is lost due to the saponification of the oil. Therefore, there is a high processing loss, whereas in the enzymatic interesterification, there is no or minimum processing loss. Low oxidative stability, retention or stability or retention of natural vitamin E or tocopherol. So there is no vitamin loss or low oxidative stability. Here, no change in the oxidative stability because the entire process or the entire operation is carried out at a low temperature. High level of reaction by the byproducts, whereas in this there are low level of reaction products that are formed. In this process of chemical interesterification, there is a flavor reversion problem, whereas in the enzymatic interesterification process, there is no flavor reversion. In case of chemical interesterification, it is highly reproducible and easily controlled, whereas enzymatic interesterification, because it's a biological molecule, it's a more complex operation and very difficult to control, and you need a skillful person. So this was all about interesterification, and now our next topic for our discussion is fractionation.